Hey guys, this is Jacques from Makulu Linux. I'm currently working on the version 1.1 of the Cinnamon edition, which is the Debian based Cinnamon edition that we released. We released 1.0 a couple of months ago. I'm now doing the 1.1 update of that. I'm just gonna go over a couple of things. Before I start, I just want to mention I keep seeing people reviewing the Makulu Linux releases, and everybody keeps pointing out this is 32-bit system, don't know why they're not making 64-bit, it's such a pity, blah blah blah. It is not an i386 kernel, it's a PAE i686 kernel. Now, what's the difference between the i386, the the x64 and the i686? Just to explain to the people that don't know, the i386 is a plain 32-bit, which is what most distros have. Then you get the x64, which is the 64-bit kernel, which also a lot of the distros have. Now, the i686 kernel is a patched 32-bit kernel to take advantage of the 64-bit features of your CPU, as well as to take away the limitation of only having 4 gigs of RAM. Therefore, if you're running an i686 PAE kernel, which stands for Physical Address Extensions, if you're running the i686 kernel, you can run it on any system with as much RAM as you want. You can chuck in 8 or 16 gigs or 32 gigs of RAM. It will pick up all the RAM and it will use all of the memory. It will also take full advantage of a lot of your 64-bit features. So there's no reason that this cannot run on a 64-bit PC. Okay, I just want to clarify that, because I see a lot of the reviewers don't actually know what the kernel is, or what the PAE stands for, or I think they just think it's a plain 32-bit kernel, and it's not. Okay, so with that out of the way, look, if you want to read more up on the topic, there is a topic on our forums, on the Makulu forums, I think it's under general, where the whole 64-bit thing's being debated there. So you're welcome to go head over to the forums and read up about it and throw in your 2 cents if you want to. Right, so what's different in this edition? Well, there's a lot of background updates that I've done, a lot of fixes. People sent me emails, this isn't working, that this is not right, and that's not right, and I've fixed virtually almost everything. A couple of things I still got to touch up and still fix, but at this point in time, most of it is already done. So there's going to be a lot of background fixes. I've run updates to the latest version, updated the software, the kernel, the system, everything's updated. So you could also get I think about 500 or 600 megs worth of updates, as well as a couple of bug fixes and so forth. Added some new wallpapers, so you're going to see quite a few extra wallpapers. I don't want to show them all off, I want to keep those a surprise, but they are quite a it's just a couple of really new cool wallpapers that you can expect. A couple of new applets, extensions, some more themes, a couple of themes that I've added in for users to play with, so you'll see quite a few new themes there. Visually is actually what I want to concentrate on today, and you know, first when we started using this theme, I first used it on Debian on the Cinnamon edition, then I ported it over to the XFCE Ubuntu version, but there I added a lot more transparency and, you know, did a lot of work on it there, more than I initially did on the Cinnamon 1.0. Cinnamon 1.0 was very square, very blocky, and it was much darker. The theme was much darker. I was kind of so impressed with how the XFCE version turned out that I then ported that back to Cinnamon again. And of course, Cinnamon shell works differently to you know, your XFCE themes, which is just plain GTK3 themes. So I literally had to find a theme, or make a theme, and then make it look like the theme from XFCE. So instead of making a whole new theme, I actually took the default Cinnamon theme, since it was already grayish in color. I took the default Cinnamon theme and I dug into the CSS files and config files, and, you know, started editing that theme to fit the same kind of theme that we have in XFCE. So the end result, as you can see here, is a little bit more transparency on this theme, the colors and everything matching pretty much what the XFCE version, so that I actually have a universal look between both this XFCE and the Cinnamon edition. That was the goal of the whole theme change. Also, you'll also notice that it's a lot more rounder. The previous theme was very square. In fact, it was called something square or whatever. But so it's a lot more round, a lot more smoother. You'll also notice that the menu is sort of semi-transparent. I can see the background, you know, right through the menu. I can see the desktop. So you got a very nice sort of it's almost impossible to make Cinnamon completely transparent the same way you can with XFCE. It doesn't have the features, it doesn't support all the transparency. I have found many ways to add a lot more transparency, but not in the same way that that XFCE does. Anyway, so where I could add a little bit of transparency, you know, just bring it on par with the other theme I did. So the panel, you'll see some transparency here. I could have made this actually completely transparent if I wanted to, but I don't know, it just felt nicer with this just slight transparency on it. So you'll notice the menus, you know, nice and round and very smooth and very fast, you know. I mean, it's like very nice. You'll also notice that when you maximize, minimize, you'll see there's a bit of an effect there, sort of almost like a bouncy effect. The same if you minimize, if you actually maximize something and then minimize it or close it, you know, it's actually so quick now, but if you take like a second, if your eye catches fast enough, you'll actually see it sort of zooms into the background. So there's a couple of effects that I've added onto the edition as well. So that's very nice. I actually think you might actually see it here. There we go. See, zooms out into the back. So there are a couple of effects. If you hold your mouse over the top panel, the title bar, you can actually just roll the mouse wheel, so you can sort of make your window transparent to see what's behind it. And then actually for the duration while the window is open, it will stay transparent. You know, and you can just roll your mouse wheel back and it will be back to normal. So I think that kind of takes care of the whole transparency thing, you know, if sort of manual control kind of thing. If you make it completely transparent, you close it and then you open it up, it will be back to normal again. So that is only for the duration while the window is open. But if you actually have let's say you got two windows open, you know, it's always you can sort of see what's behind it. That's always nice. You'll also notice that everything is just about rounded off. Even the preview windows, they have also got this nice round effect. The terminal, which was sort of completely black see-through, has now got a much more grayer mesh kind of see-through transparent sort of, you know, it's more grayish, so it kind of fits in with the theme. So I spent a lot of time just customizing the look. You know, there wasn't too many bugs to fix. I mean, there were obviously, nothing's bugless. Fixing them didn't really take long. So I spent majority of my time, I think, just making the distro just look and feel better, just tweaks everywhere. Obviously making this theme took quite a long time. I'm not a theme expert. I mean, I'm okay with graphics. The other things that have changed is I've included now the Synapse launcher instead of the Slings Cold. It seems that, I know there are some guys that will like Slings Cold, but it seems that majority people like Synapse, because all the reviews I watched, everybody's focusing on Synapse. I've gotten, like, you know, I think I've gotten more emails on the last release than I've ever in my life before, and you know, a majority of them mention Synapse. And of course the survey we did also pointed out that people seem to be happy with the launchers. So I've had lots of positive feedback on Synapse, and so I decided to replace it on this edition as well, just to keep that universal look. You know, what I do to the one I prefer to do to the other. So Synapse Launcher is included here instead of the Slings Cold. So you got your default Mint style menu on the left, which is actually sort of looks like the Mate menu, and you've got the Synapse Launcher on the right. Next to that, this is also added onto the distro, which is a sort of a little account manager. You can sort of quickly get to your account and change your password, name, picture, as well as turn on and off notifications, get quick access to system settings, lock screen, switch user, logout, power off. So that's a little quick little get to your user account settings. So that's quite nice as well. The other change, other major change that you'll notice here is system settings. Now is a lot more complete than it was before. You know, there's actually a lot more icons than was before, and this is obviously when I updated it to a much newer version, and a lot of things like power settings, which was non-existent before, and network settings, which was non-existent before, is now included. So that's nice. So it's got a display as well that was also missing. All these things I had to actually build my own control center, Makulu control center, you know, to add all of this in. But it is here now by default. There's languages. Okay, you can obviously install extra. But anyway, so you'll notice that the system settings, the default system settings, is now there with a lot more features than previously existed. So that's nice. So users can, you know, fully use that. I did include the Makulu Control Center in case there is something, because you know I also add a lot of custom things here, so you can use either or. If you change the settings in the one, it will change in the other, so you can play with those if you want. But the default system settings is there. The other thing is the Google Chrome. Obviously, I've customized a lot more here, added a lot more speed dials to a lot more things that people will most likely use. You know, like DeviantArt, where you can get a lot of custom icon packs and themes and so forth. Same with GNOME Look. Instagram, I've added Wikipedia, torrents for searching torrents. It's actually a great torrent search engine, by the way. Post image, where you can upload images. What else did I add here? Lincoln, I added in here. LinkedIn. I added Yahoo. So there are a couple of extra speed dials that I should have actually added the first time around, but they're there now, you know, so that's nice. I also updated all the plugins. So in general, I've mainly just fixed a lot of the issues, minor issues guys reported. Networking issues, fixed that. Power issues, fixed that. You know, just a couple of things. I've updated the system, I've updated the kernel, added some wallpapers, added some new applets that you can add to the panel, and then of course I added a couple of new themes, and of course I created this theme to sort of just make it look very nice and just all around much smoother. I've also added a couple extra games. Oh, I don't know why that icon's missing. I will have a look at that, don't stress. I added the Aylesright Solitaire and the X Mahjong, since both of those were included in the Ubuntu edition, and I noticed people liked it, so I included those two games here. Nothing too different. The Cinnamon Debian edition had the old Kingsoft Office on, where the Ubuntu I updated to the WPS Office, which is much newer. I did the same here, so users will now get the full updated version, because the old one I think was version, I'm not even sure, I think it was version 6 or something. This is version 9, so it's quite an update. Apart from that, I don't think there's too many other changes. Mostly it's just the theme that you, well, from a user's point of view, obviously you won't know everything is changed in the background, but from the user's point of view, you'll have a lot more effects, a lot smoother running operating system, and you'll have a much nicer theme. You know, it's much more modern looking, much more just blended and rounded, and so forth. You'll also have Synapse Launcher, which is a much better launcher than, in my opinion, than Things Cold, and a couple of extra shortcuts and so forth. So all in all, it's a really nice update. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm also just gonna fix a lot of minor things. For example, this Xmeyong, I've got to fix that. You know, just little things all over that I find that still needs fixing. So yeah, this is Jacques from Makulu Linux, just showing off this update. It will be live in a few weeks time, maybe a week, maybe two, I don't know. It really just depends on what still needs to be done, and I need to send it out to the testers, and they'll obviously give feedback. So as far as I know, this is the update I'm working on, and I'm also working on a Ubuntu XFCE 7.1 update. So those are the two updates that will go live this month. This one will probably be first, and the latter will be second. But yeah, should look out for this update soon. I will be porting some of these updates back to Cinnamon version 1.0, not all of them obviously. The bug fixes will be ported back. A lot of the looks and customizations I won't be porting back, because you know, I can't through Update Manager force you to switch a theme and things like that. So the guys that will update will get the fixes. If they want this whole new look, they'll have to re-download. But yeah, this is Jacques from Makulu Linux, signing out. Just thought I'd bring you guys the latest updates. Cheers.